Hi. Diabetes and heart disease unfortunately goes hand in hand, and some of the things that we eat might be leading us down that path. I'm Donna, the Dynamic Diabetic, and I want to talk to you today about some foods that you might be eating that can take you from being pre diabetic to diabetic to full blown heart disease. You know, folks, people don't usually die of diabetes. They die of the complications from diabetes, and heart disease, unfortunately, is a big one. So, let's talk about some of the foods that you might be eating that can unfortunately take you from one step to the next. Some of them you'll know you're not supposed to have those. But others might surprise you. The first, sugary drinks, soft drinks, lemonade, regular lemonade, stuff like that, sweet tea, all of those things. They're going to cause you to raise your triglycerides, okay, which is a bad thing for your heart, right? All these things are going to affect your heart, which is going to contribute not only to bad times with diabetes, but to that heart disease. The second one, candy. We're not supposed to have candy, right? A little dark chocolate, maybe. But candy will also raise your triglycerides. It will make your glucose rise. And guys, it makes your heart pump harder, makes it work harder to get your blood through your body. White bread. We all know we're not supposed to eat white bread, right? It's refined grains. They've taken all the nutrients out, guys, and all it does is raise your glucose and raise your triglycerides. Another bread is much better if you have to have bread. Sugary cereals. Let's talk about that for a minute because all of us love some kind of cereal. We ate it as a kid, we've grown up, we've had it, we think it's great, right? But most cereals are loaded with sugar or corn syrup or saturated fat or starch or dyes, preservatives. All of those things are bad for our health all the way around, and especially our heart. So look for a cereal that doesn't have all that sugar added, that doesn't have all the preservatives, the dyes, those things. They're out there and you can find them, and some of them are very good. But it's not going to be your Fruit Loops. It's not going to be that, okay? Excuse me. Now, here's a biggie, fat free foods. I know that a lot of people eat fat free foods thinking that they are just doing such a smart thing to keep themselves healthy, right? That's heart healthy. Well, guys, when they take the fat out, they put something else back in. And that something else is usually sugar. Okay? Sugar. And those foods that they do that, a lot of times are the junk foods, right? Sugar free, fat free, all of that kind of thing. The stuff you shouldn't be eating anyway. And you need to understand that you need healthy fats for your heart, healthy fats, but you sure don't need the kind of sugar, the kind of stuff that they're putting in that fat free food. You're much better off to eat the real deal. I never buy fat free. I don't even buy low fat. I buy regular mayonnaise, okay? Regular sour cream, because we need some of that healthy fat. Not overdo it, but we need some. Then, something you probably haven't thought much about is sauces, especially the pre prepared. In the grocery store, you've got pasta sauce, it's loaded with sugar. You've got barbecue sauce, loaded with sugar. You've got teriyaki sauce, loaded with sugar. And then you have soy sauce that's loaded with sodium. All of that is very, very bad for your heart. Prepared gravy that you might buy at the store, same thing, loaded with salt. So you're much better off to make those sauces yourself. Okay, and I know a lot of us don't have time for some of this stuff, but everything that you do that you do have time for is going to make a difference. So do everything that you can do to protect yourself. Next is going to be red meat. Now, I'm not going to tell you not to eat red meat, okay? Most of us love a good burger, or we like our steak, whatever. Um, but red meat does have saturated fat, and saturated fat is not that great for your heart. It also has TMAO, which is a chemical that influences our cholesterol and influences the cholesterol in our arteries and the platelets in our blood. So limit your red meat, 2, maybe 3 times a week at the very most. Do you want to eat red meat? Okay, there's plenty of other things to eat. Bouillon. You know, who would think bouillon? I mean, that's just like a broth, right? But it is loaded with MSG, and you don't want that. You do not want that. That is also not good for your heart, okay? Um, and then we have cheese. Cheese. I couldn't believe it. But cheese has saturated fat, guys. It has fat. Now, some people try to eat like a keto diet where they're eating a lot of fat, but that's not been proven that that's the best thing for you. And we know that too much fat, even good fat, can be bad for your heart. So just limit your cheese, okay? Don't be pouring the cheese on everything you eat. And of course, that will bring us to pizza. Pizza has generally a white crust. There's that white flour we're not supposed to have. And then it has a sauce. That's that prepared sauce we're not supposed to have. And then it has cheese, that cheese that we should limit. And then it has red meat sometimes, hamburger, or it has pepperoni that's been processed. Guys, if you love your pizza, try the cauliflower crust for your pizza and more veggies, less meat. But if you just love your pizza the way you like it, eat it once a month, not once a week, okay? Once a month. Fried foods. We all know that we shouldn't have fried foods. Fried foods for a long time have been a no-no, but a lot of us still eat it, okay? If you eat fried foods 3 times a week, let's say, you are 7% more at risk to have a stroke. I don't know if those 3 fried foods were worth that. And if you are a McDonald's junkie for lunch, you're going to grab your burger and fries, now you're 14% more likely to have a stroke. You may get too much omega-6 fatty acids in your system, which is going to create blood clots and give you give you heart disease. I don't know that that's worth it either, right? Next would be potato chips. We all know potato chips, right? But there's baked potato chips, and a lot of people think because they're baked, well, then they're okay. They're not fried, right? They're baked. But they're still very high in sodium, and we are still more likely, guys, that bet you can't eat just one. That is so true, right? You can't just eat one chip. You're going to eat a lot, and that's going to be bad for your heart. Hot dogs. You don't even want to know what all's in hot dogs, okay? But it has nitrates, and those are bad for your heart. It has preservatives. They can cause narrowing and hardening of the arteries. And nowadays, there are some that are nitrate free. Okay, so you want to go look for those hot dogs. There's still beef hot dogs. There's still good hot dogs, but they don't have all the preservatives and all the nitrates and nitrates in them that regular hot dogs have. I eat them. They're good. And when you want a hot dog, you want a hot dog. And these will taste just fine. That's true of bacon too, guys. You can get the bacon now that's uncured much better. Okay, vegetable shortening. Who remembers, the big can of Crisco and throwing that into things that we bake with or fried, right? Well, oils can be toxic. They can be toxic when they are oxidized. And when they're oxidized, that leads to free radicals. And free radicals leads to inflammation. Bingo! I always tell you, inflammation causes everything that we have wrong with us, right? So we're going to have inflammation. That's going to lead to chronic inflammation. And that, my friend, leads to heart disease. So, vegetable shortening, get your olive oil out. Frozen dinners. Who's buying frozen dinners? They have low calories in a lot of them, but check the label because they either have high sugar or high salt. Invariably, they have one or the other. You're much better off to prepare your own frozen meal. Cook a meatloaf and then freeze meals out of that or something so that you know what you've got, how much salt you've got, how much sugar you've got. Much healthier for you. The next one is cheeseburgers. Oh my gosh. Who doesn't love that, right? But you got a bun, generally white, so that's not good for you. Sometimes you have lots of toppings, right? Bacon, that's not good for you. And then you have mayonnaise. You might be getting too much of that kind of thing. Ketchup, too much sugar. Cheese, we've already said we need to watch that. So saturated fat, additives, all of that in your cheeseburgers. So let's be wise and not have cheeseburgers very often either. White rice, again, a processed grain that they've taken all the good stuff out. They leave us with high glucose is what they leave us with. So brown rice, wild rice, quinoa, any of those, better choices than white rice. Butter is saturated fat, so again, you don't want to use too much of that. Organic butter is better than not organic butter, but regardless, you don't want to overuse that, right? Keep in mind your olive oil, which is heart friendly, is a better choice most of the time. The next one is kind of a surprise, and that is flavored yogurt. I'm sure a lot of you eat yogurt, peach, cherry, vanilla, whatever, and you think, oh, I'm being good, man. I'm eating yogurt. That's healthy. That's good for me. Well, there is some good in yogurt, yes, but generally speaking, if you look at the label, you're going to find that they are high in sugar. And so you're going to have high glucose. You're going to have insulin spikes. You're much better off to eat plain Greek yogurt. Or I know that Kroger stores have a store brand yogurt, and it's called carb something, and I apologize, I can't remember exactly, but that yogurt you can look at does not have all that sugar, and it has a lot of flavors that you can eat. It's the only one I know that you can eat besides plain Greek yogurt and not hurt you. Last on my list, ice cream. Ice cream. Who doesn't love ice cream? Well, sugar and fat. That's what ice cream is. Sugar and fat. So that's something else that is not good for our heart. Okay? There is a brand, Rebel, Rebel, ice cream. It is very low carb. You have to let it sit out a little bit before you eat it, but then it's creamy like ice cream. It really is good. And the net carbs in a pint is like 4 to 7. So it's safe for you. It's safe for you to eat. And I enjoy the flavors. That is what I eat, and feel totally confident that I am not causing my diabetes or my heart issues. Again, just remember that diabetes complicates things. It leads to complications, and that is what is going to really hurt you, is the complications. Heart disease being the number one. Okay? So these foods we've talked about, think about what I've said. I hope you learned something you didn't know. I hope there was value in that. I hope you will share this video. There are people who don't understand about the foods they eat. They don't understand how to help their diabetes. You can help by sharing this video. You can also help by subscribing to my channel. I would appreciate that. I hope I found you safe today. I hope I found you well, and I sure hope I found you happy. You know, it's my pleasure to come and offer some knowledge, because knowledge is power, to my viewers. I really appreciate you being here. And again, I hope you learned something today, something that will help you. Please share. This is Donna Denson, the Dynamic Diabetic, thanking you for being here. May God bless and keep you until we connect again. Bye-bye.